Right now.
Yes, ready to go. It's not quite six, but it will be. We should really mix it up.
We're supposed to be able to have or something?
We would like it to be mixed up each time.
And then we have to just find. Musical chairs, you have to find it.
Yeah, it's just up to alley where you say it's
Well,
need to be there.
usually has chocolate. All right. Okay, let's roll. Good evening, everyone. It is 6 p.m. and I call this regular city council meeting of February 3rd to order. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Thomas? Here. Councilmember Dolan?
Here.
Councilmember Edwards?
Here.
Councilmember Grant? Present. Councilmember Carey? Here. Mayor Pro Tem Clark?
Here.
Mayor Green?
Here. Great. Would you all join me, please, for the optional pledge of allegiance or moment of silence?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to approval of the agenda.
Question. Oh, Grant moves here for the agenda. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. That brings us to public comments for items not on the agenda. Is there anyone in council chambers who would like to give public comment for items not on the agenda? Please, come up.
I'm not sure.
I looked to the
They're
left.
not, because I didn't read the thing in the windows earlier, and I didn't get a chance to look at the agenda. A proposal is made by Councilmember Edwards that we think about $23 million bond to the high streets. In the past, I've advocated that the city look into buying the machinery to do that work and having a crew that's trained to do that work. That would provide employment for several people, but I also wonder about the toxicity of that type of work, but still, if we either had that as for a municipality as a just for the city, or if we could somehow, once we fixed our streets, then either rent that machinery out or rent the crew out or whatever, however that would work out. We could do other areas. So the $23 million bond, I guess it needs to be looked at in comparison to my scheme to see which would be more acceptable to both the budget and the people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Is there anyone else in chambers who wants to give comment for items not on the agenda? Okay, is there anyone online who would like to give comment for items not on the agenda? If so, please raise your virtual hand. Seeing none, we'll just move right along. This brings us to the consent agenda, which includes the minutes from the meeting on January 20th.
Edwards moves to approve the consent agenda.
Seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Okay, so now we're going to move on to presentations. We have one presentation this evening, which is a presentation regarding the municipal court and goals for 2026. This is, municipal court is one of those rare departments that, which the judge is appointed by council. And so this department is largely self-managed. We don't hear from that in regular department reports. But there's been a lot of great things going on so far, and Bree is going to tell us all about it.
Good evening, everybody.
We can start on the next slide.
Yeah, that's fine.
So this is your new municipal court team. And me, I'm taking over for Sarah Bushman. We have the lovely Judge Holmes who's on with us. And Cindy Elmore, who's not here this evening, but she is the deputy. Next one. There's a wonderful photo of the judge. There's me and Cindy, in case you haven't seen us before. That was at a court training we did in December. So I assumed the role of municipal court clerk in October. At that time, we didn't really have a court system. We relied on a green and red paper system where traffic infractions were in a green folder and in a pile, and criminal offenses were in a red file in piles. We had a very big accomplishment last week. We just finally got the rest of the court documents out of Ally's office, so that was a big win for us. There's been no software and there's been no tracking. So prior to me starting, we did not track payments, defendants, deferred sentences, compliance, or anything like that.
My goodness.
So,
Now we do. And now we do.
yes.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, you'll see it. You'll see it. I got it for you. So, the deputy court clerk is Cindy. Cindy, she plays a vital role in supporting the court system. She helps with the organization, and the big one, she helps with digitizing court records. We have hundreds of records we have to go through and digitize and keep per our retention. She's constantly present in the courtroom each month. This little corner right here is Cindy's court corner. So she processes payments, sets up their files. If you guys look at this blue file, this is kind of what we give the defendants. It has papers with QR codes for their classes, more resources if they have community service. We will put their community service login here, all their files. Here, copies of everything. And then when they make a payment, we will put their payment receipt in here as well. With Cindy's help, this allows me to assist the judge directly, complete court orders in real time. This is a new process we just started last month that is going, I think, very well, where we can make orders in real time instead of having to wait a few days, email back and forth, we're getting signatures, we're getting things done quickly and efficiently. We can move on to the next one. Mine are to prepare and organize the court docket, review cases prior to court sessions, review defendant history. This includes prior municipal cases or outstanding warrants. I also issue orders and warrants, send those out, draft and finalize orders, implement and maintain the master case log, which you will get a cool demonstration of, and then update all of our records, and then reconcile all of our payments into Excel, which is quite the process. But we are going to have a much better representation this budget year of how much money will be coming into the courts. You can go to the next one. Here are the improvements we've implemented over the past 4 months. We've digitized historical records, converting paper files into electronic ones. We've organized and digitized records into the shared drive for secure and efficient access. We've developed a comprehensive master case spreadsheet tracking. This tracks individual cases, payment status, and deferred sentences. We've reorganized and standardized paper case filing, so everything is in the same order. If we ever get a court request or someone needs their physical file, we have that readily available. And then we've relocated all of the court proceedings here to chambers instead of upstairs where it used to be, which is working out greatly. You can go to the next one. We've, like I said, we established a workstation for the deputy court clerk right over here. She has a filing cabinet, printer. We've created and improved many forms, so they're consistent, clear, and efficient, and we've implemented systems that promote accurate tracking. Go to the next one. The biggest accomplishment I would say we have is the master case log. This case log serves as the central tracking system for all of our cases. It provides a single comprehensive view of each case, including the status, payment plan information, deferred judgments and conditions, compliance, tracking, and key dates. The log allows us for consistent updates, accurate reporting, and reliable follow-up. Go to the next one. Here's a little demonstration on what our master case log looks like. It's a little small, but you can see I got Jane Doe's in there, so this isn't anybody's personal information, but we have drop downs for what kind of charges they have, if it's paid, if there's a payment plan. The points that we need to report to the DMV, So right here is where you can kind of select what the offense is and everything. We will hyperlink the case number to the actual case packet. So if we ever need to pull up their information in a hurry, it's hyperlinked, and then we find it all within here. So this is kind of the general overview of each person's case. We hyperlink their ticket information, so if they pay it, we can pull up their payment really easily. And then notes. This is the payment tracker that has all their same information, but it has if they've paid it, if they've not paid it, if they have a payment plan, and if it's been entered into Excel. And then if they have a payment plan. Then, where is it gonna go to? This is a big one. This is our deferred judgment. So a lot of the times we get deferred judgments, which means you can't get in trouble for the next 12 months and you have conditions and stipulations. This sheet here allows us to track their progress. I've done the math in the K columns where it takes each day, like it subtracts the day of how many days they have left. So it's an accurate representation of when we need to review the. We also have our restitution orders and DMV points in that master case log as well. We can move on to the next one. Here are our goals this year. Me and Cindy have come to the goal of digitizing all of the paper records we have found dating back to 2016 by April of this year. This is led by, I'm going to give the credit to Cindy, mostly Cindy and myself, to continue improving our court processes to increase efficiency, accuracy, and consistency. We are working on updating the fine schedule. That is a big project for us. We have fines that are in line with the state. And then strengthening coordination between the municipal court and the Lake County Sheriff's Office and the PD, kind of making sure we're one cohesive unit all together because we all work really closely together. I'm working on scheduling a meeting with the sheriff and the dispatch team just to make sure we're all together working towards the same goals. Go to the next. That's the last one. Okay.
And I just want to add so that the council knows and understands, I was appointed to this role for the judge back in July, and I appeared in court the very next day, and we had a little bit of turnover pretty quickly. And so I think during that time until Bree became the court clerk, it was a little bit of hunting for where things were and what the processes were. And so we spent a little bit of time dialing those things in. And so it's very helpful to be able to have this organization where we are able to track cases on a daily basis, look at them when somebody calls up, track to see when things are completed or when somebody's not in compliance. And additionally, when I issue an order or a warrant, having Ms. Ortiz understand exactly where that needs to go and to which entities need to be advised of that is really helpful. And I think having this is really the beginning for the court as we transition into using Tyler and using the software that we're going to go into for making this a really nice court of record and a compliant court of record. And I think that this has been a really helpful team. This team all works really well together. I just want to let the council know that.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Ortiz or Judge Hall?
I do. I have one quick question. So I love a QR code.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming that if someone doesn't have a cell phone or isn't able to do that you have a system in place for them to be able to
Yes,
access
so
it.
on the bottom there, we should have the website so they can go to it. And if they can't do it over the phone or online, they can definitely come in and make a payment with me in person. But we give out these little QR codes if they have a continuance or deferred, we give them their next court date on these cards as well. Cindy puts all that documentation together so they have a nice packet when they leave court.
And we also we've changed the process so that instead of having these old standard sheets that were in there, there's a registry of actions that's updated. So we see each item that's occurred. And then when the defendant leaves the court, they walk out with a piece of paper identifying when their next court date is or what that packet is for any of the items that they need to complete before their deadlines.
Councilmember Edwards, you have a question?
Thank you for a really nice presentation. Have you had good buy-in from the police department so far? Have you had good cooperation?
Yes, we actually have a meeting this month on the 18th of the police department and the court crew, and we're going to work on our communication a little better, but things are going well.
And when do you think you'll be able to switch from Cassell over to Tyler? Is that something just to happen over the year?
I think implementation will be towards the end of the year.
That's great. Thank you.
What questions? I have blood questions. What did you do with all the red and blue folders?
I gave them to Abby.
They'll be this year's Christmas. Other questions for Ms. Ortiz?
Well, how's it working out to hold court in this space versus upstairs?
I was never there. I was never present when they had it upstairs, just kind of walking by, but it is, so the judge sits where Mayor Green is, I sit where Ally is, and then we have a rolly desk that, Cindy sits the defendants sit here, and it works very well. We have our little sign outside to direct people over here. Cindy will usually stand by the door, and if someone walks in, she'll ask if they're headed to court or headed upstairs. If they're headed upstairs, she'll definitely direct them to the right person. But it's working out phenomenally.
So this reminds me of an issue we had last year where we needed space in City Hall for attorneys to meet with their clients privately and away from the other side. Have we organized that?
Yes, that is in Mayor Green's office.
Excellent.
That's worked out really well.
Yeah,
And can you remind us when the court is held?
the third Wednesday at 1 o'clock every month.
Great. Other questions or comments?
Judge Holm, do you ever use the easy button?
Every time I sit there, absolutely.
Every time? Yeah, that's the
Every
right
time.
ratio.
I wish we could use it so frequently.
Well, and I also want to just point out that it's really helpful for the customer and defendant experience that we're able to do things quickly and efficiently while they're in there before us. So court has actually reduced the amount of time that we're spending per case. And so that's just an ultimate savings, not only for money, but it's also just a good look and a good customer service experience for people to be able to have that. And having Cindy and Bree in there is really helpful because when one might be explaining something to the prior defendant, we can move on to the next case because everything's done on the record. And so that way nothing gets slowed down.
Yes, it has been amazing having Cindy by my side. I do not think we would be operating this efficiently if it were just me like it happened with Sarah.
Yeah.
We are a well-greased machine and we're only going to get better.
Well, I recall when we interviewed Judge Holmes, she, one of the things that was very important to her was kind of modernizing our system here. And I think, and I want to thank you guys, because I think thanks to Judge Holmes' leadership and Ms. Ortiz and Ms. Elmore's attention to detail and organizational skills, this is a great example of an internal improvement, improving the internal structure, policies and flow within the city. Thank you.
Thank you guys for listening to our presentation. I don't want to see you on the other side of this. Good. Officer Torres gives out speeding tickets like
Yeah.
Karen.
Well, part of their interview is if I was speeding 40 miles over the limit, would they give me a ticket?
It's fun to rest.
They should give you a ticket if they catch you speeding. Yes.
Yes, if they don't get hired, if they say no.
You guys have a good evening. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Let's move right along to our action items. 20 minutes into our meeting, we're already there. We're gonna kick it off strong with consideration of a temporary use permit for the 2026 Lifetime Race Series. I am gonna turn this over to Mr. Cummins, our permit technician.
Hello, everyone. For anyone who would like to follow along, this report starts on page 18 of your packet. Thank you, Council and Mayor. Before you tonight are 7 TUPs for the Lifetime Race Series. Those are the Leadville Trail 100 Run, the Leadville Trail 100 Bike, the Trail 10K Run, the Marathon, the Heavy Half Marathon, the Trail 100 Run Camp, and the Trail 100 Bike Camp. So staff, a little bit of a background, staff received these TUPs for the 2026 season on Wednesday, November 5th, 2025. Upon receipt, we conducted a review for completeness as well as performed an internal department evaluation based on multiple factors, including previous years' TUPs. After those reviews, we sent a comment letter to the applicant stating comments and questions we had. That letter is on page 22 of your packet if you would like to see that. Lifetime responded to these comments and sent in new temporary use permits. So revised TUP applications on Monday, January 6th. On the January 20th meeting of City Council, the applicant did give a presentation. During that presentation, there were 3 items that council asked for follow-up on. The first question was the potential need for additional no parking signs along Pine Street, that area between like 6th and 8th. The second one was a request for review of the communications between Lifetime and the business owners on East 6th and Poplar. And then the third one was clarification regarding the additional street closures proposed on Poplar Street. So as of right now, the first 2 items, the no parking signs and the communications between business owners, those staff has not received any comments on those. But the third item, the Poplar Street closure, I will say those were in the original TUP applications that were submitted back in November. So I don't have any comments on those. They're included in the TUP. So let's see here. As a general overview, the TUP applications remain largely consistent with those approved in 2025. As discussed with the applicant during the presentation, most all of the changes that were not, small things like happening out in the county at different rest stops and placement of bathrooms, things like that. All other changes are related to safety, such as the additional street closure on Poplar, as well as the closures on 5th Street, 6th and 5th Street during the opening ceremonies for the bike race. And also additional fencing on 6th Street, East 6th Street, towards Pine Street. All of those were in the name of safety. And staff really did not find too many other changes besides those minute things like bathrooms now on the left-hand side of the trail versus the right-hand side that we don't have a lot of review over. Highlights from my staff report. Comments from the reviewing agencies are highlighted on page 20 and 21. So those are what I took from all of the review agencies and compiled them in a nice list for you all to see. And then also I did include the estimate of the local services reimbursement that was requested last year before approval of the events. That is actually on page 182 of my staff report at the very end. And then I would also like to remind council that all 7 of these TUPs are considered separate TUPs. You can, or you may consider them all separately, or you may pass one or just a few of them with a single motion. That is, of course, up to council. And when I say pass, I mean consider, sorry. And I was informed that the applicant was going to be here today, but I do not see her here. She may be online. I can't quite see that far. So I guess unless Chapin has anything else you'd like to add, I would turn it over to you for questions.
Are there questions for Mr. Childs?
I have one question.
Please.
Yes. Andrew, on page 182, your temporary use permit estimate of fees,
Yes,
is that cumulative or is that per event?
that is cumulative, sorry.
So that is all the events together.
Yes, so, when I went to the police department and streets department and fire department, the way they gave me their numbers was the total hours worked. And these estimates are based on the number of hours that they, contributed last year. So with the similar nature of these applications, the estimate is based on expectation of similar.
Sure.
But yeah, it is not broken down to per event. It is all through one event. And that is also partly to ease the applicant's, payment, instead of paying 7 smaller bills, all in one application or all in one, payment was preferred. So if you would like a breakdown per event, I can definitely talk to staff to see if we can do that.
I think it would be, speaking for myself and only if other council members concur, moving forward, it would be nice to see this estimate per event, because some of these events have much more, they're much more involved than others. And some of these, to be honest, and this is following up on our conversations from last year, some of these estimates seem exceedingly low. So it would be nice to see for our packet next year, not to go back at all with this year, and I'm not going to question this year's. It would be nice to see this broken down per event. Obviously, the 100 run and the 100 bike are much more involved, but I would have expected to see these kinds of numbers for one event, much less 7 events. So it would be nice to see our staff go through and do the legwork necessary to break these down individually with our individual departments so that we could be sure that the city's being reimbursed properly.
In an upcoming, department report, we could could check in with the city administrator, then have the individual departments speak to that in the coming months in one of our monthly department report opportunities.
I think that'd be great. I don't know how a community service officer has only 6 hours involved with 7 different events, which total up to probably more like 12 total days. So I would wonder, it'd be interesting to see what these are if we broke it down per event and see how it measures up to this overall estimate.
Yes.
But once again, I am not questioning this year's totals. We'd just like to see us as a city take that a little bit more seriously.
Yes.
I agree. I think that would be interesting. Is my understanding correct that they get billed for additional, like, they don't get billed for the police officers that would normally be on duty anyway? It's like what gets scheduled in addition to the normal? Is that?
That is correct. So, the point of this is, we don't wish to, put any undue burden on our police and streets and fire department. So yes, it is, anything over the regularly scheduled police or streets involvement. So if the street, crew has to plow the road anyway, that time is not necessarily calculated into these events. But if there is a special request or they have already plowed and then have to go back only because of the event, they would charge that time only.
Thank you.
We're plowing at that time of year.
You might need to this year.
Honestly, I'll take it.
Councilmember Grant.
My follow-up question is around the, per hour, the $75 per hour for law enforcement versus 50 for service officer versus 50 for the streets department. That seems low to me. And I'm wondering how many years that particular number has been in play and whether we can reevaluate that. Because as Councilmember Edwards pointed out, these all seem low and the total cost of less than $5,000 for 7 events. Seems like we are assuming a lot of burden for extra services. I think I said that clearly, but if I didn't, I'll restate it.
I would like to,
That's-
our city administrator is, the city did not charge anything prior to her initiating this structure. So I want to, so in terms of looking back, we don't have that many years of doing this. But Ms. Simonson, can you flesh out that answer?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, up until recently, we just had a very nominal permit fee, and we realized, much to Councilmember Grant's point, that we were going out of pocket, and that really wasn't fair to the city, since it's a for-profit event. So I think we've only had these rates for about a year. I think maybe at the most 2 years, Councilmember Grant. And so I think we are going to look at that, at least the police department rate, because what that number was based upon for the police officer was when we would get extra help from another police department, how much they would charge us. So we got a little bit of extra help one year for Boom Days, and I arranged it, and it was $75 an hour. Since then, we have asked for help from other local jurisdictions, and the amount is higher. So if we are covering this event and we need to get help from other departments, nearby, we would be in the red, because we would be charging the event $75 an hour, and we might be paying another police department more than that. So one of the things we have on the list upcoming for the council is to relook at your fee schedule. So there's a couple other things. This dollar amount is set on the fee schedule. So we might look again at revising that fee schedule this year. So we usually try and look at it at least once a year, but we may look at it sooner rather than later.
I would like to do that. And I also think that we need to count into that the administrative cost for billing out to those additional services that we employ, those contract services. Like there's an administrative cost for us to bill out if we have to utilize those. So include that. Yeah, include that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So that would be in a different line item on the fee schedule. That would just be the cost of the permit. So the cost of the permit itself, we've sort of tried to capture the admin cost. And I think, Mr. Cummins, it's based upon the number of people in an event. And so, Mr. Cummins, do you know off the top of your head, what is the fee? I think it's $500 for events that are around 2,000 participants. Am I getting that about right?
It is $1,000 for anything over 1,000 people participating in the event.
Gotcha.
And it does scale down. So the most nominal, oh, perfect, thank you. So 50 or fewer attendees is $50. 51 to 200 is $120. 201 to 500 is $250, and then 500 to 1,000 is $500, and then of course 1,001 and above is 1,000.
So we can look at that fee and whether or not that would capture the city hall time, as you're saying, for billing out and doing all this admin work. So we will. I think we should look at all of that and not really be having the city lose money on it.
No, I don't think we should lose money on it at all when it's a for-profit company. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, thinking out loud.
Excuse me, Ms. Simonson. Other questions?
So are we saying that if it's a for-profit company, we're doing the same work, we're not going to charge a nonprofit or?
We have.
That's correct. So for in our fee schedule, we have the option of waiving the fees for nonprofits. And that's just across the board for not just events, but for any of the fees that the city charges. We have the option of waiving it for a nonprofit.
I think that I'm jumping back in, but we can talk about like the idea of revenue sharing when we're talking about thousands of people.
Thank you about that.
Okay.
Does anyone else have questions, specifically Councilmember Carey, Councilmember Thomas, before we see if people want to
I don't have any additional questions.
No, I don't. Okay. Any other questions amongst the remaining council members who have already spoken?
There's just things we can bring up during our fee discussion.
And those fees go up every year, substantially last year. This is something I think that, carries a lot of interest in the town. I know the city and the county kind of linked arms last year and made a number of, strong requests that be changed to lower the impact on the town. And Lifetime made a number of changes to reduce that impact. And I think last year's event improved in many ways compared to prior. We went so far as to ask that the start be moved out of the city. And we were besieged by our local businesses downtown saying, no, they wanted it to stay. We looked at the Placer AI. I don't know if any of you have access to that data, and it indicated that they get a remarkable amount of flow from during like the start times, even when it's 4 a.m. And we also see a sales tax spike over that period. So just as a little bit of background, but because this does have a lot of impact for our town, and I know we have some people here, does anybody want to give public comment on this? Okay, so our normal public comment procedure is your opportunity to communicate with council and give us your opinion. What I'm going to ask you to do is come up to the lectern, give us your name, and in particular, if you live city or county, and you'll have 3 minutes. So do you want to go first?
Sure.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you, council. My name is Harvey Craig, and I own the Moe's Barbecue over here on 44E6. I live on County Road 19 on the outskirts of town. And anyway, I guess my concerns, and this is something that just came up to me this last week, and just so you guys know, one, thank you for doing what you're doing. I know it can be hard, but you know, I was told that there was going to be some closures on Poplar, which were definitely concerning to me, but I'm not seeing anything in the maps or anything. This might just be hearsay. But anyway, as far as the race series goes, pertaining to my business, Taylor and I have always, you know, had open communications, and we talk about for different things. But I guess as a business owner, for me, one of the big things is access. You know, parking is a big thing for our business. In general, you know, all that easy access for people to come to our business gets shut down during the race series, and you know, I don't really complain about it. I understand the race series is good for the town and all that. But one of the things also that can be improved is walking access from Harrison up East 6 going to when they have the expo going on. I guess, you know, I feel like all that walking traffic gets kind of pushed over to the expo, and the sidewalks get kind of bunched up on that north side. And I know in the past there's been bleachers there, but I believe the bleachers are gone at this point. There used to be a set of bleachers in there, but anyway, maybe some extra like signage showing, hey, this is the expo, but there is, you know, a business over here, Moe's Barbecue. Anybody going that wants to go to Moe's Barbecue, stay on this side. Maybe some simple things like that. And, you know, I have talked with Tamara about that. You know, another concern of ours is we have food deliveries. Now, the big thing here is if any of Poplar was going to get shut down or more Poplar, that would be very concerning to me. We do get food deliveries on Thursday and Friday, and, you know, without food deliveries, we're out of business. So really, I just, I need access to that back alley behind us for a food truck and, hopefully it's, not like extremely, hard for our vendors. Obviously we lose employee parking, but, we can deal with that.
You have 3 minutes.
What's that?
Sorry. Your
That was
3
already
minutes
3
are
minutes?
up. I know.
All right, well, okay, well, anyway, I guess I could submit some of these concerns also. And thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments.
Hi, thank you so much for hearing my comments today. My name is Megan Lovelace Craig. I'm Harvey's wife and participate in the ownership of Moe's Barbecue. Thank you so much for taking the time today. A couple things I wanted to bring up that my husband had brought up is our loss of revenue during these time periods. We know that people are coming to visit to watch the races, and not everyone loves barbecue. So we understand that because of traffic limitations, that our revenue drops. So when you do hear that there is revenue growth throughout our amazing town, just know that Moe's does not share in that revenue. While we celebrate the Race Series, what we know is this is a time of stress for our staff and for ourselves. And I'd like to share a little bit why. We have the best bathrooms on that little corner, and everyone uses them. And if you've ever participated in a race, my goodness, what happens in the restroom afterwards is, well, it's not for the faint of heart. And every year our bathrooms break. Another thing that happens at our restaurant is it's so cute. I hope you guys have been there and visited. We've got these picnic tables and it's a great place to hang out. Many Race Series participants and spectators choose to use our restaurant as a hangout lounge, even bringing their computers and folding chairs. They do not buy anything at our restaurant. Additionally, they do take up a lot of space, and we find our customers actually standing to eat. And what stresses out our staff is they have to go and ask customers to get up. And we don't want our reputation in town to be that we're not friendly, because we are. But when we have sometimes dozens of people kind of camping, even bringing in outside food and arguing with us when we ask them not to take up that space, it creates a tension that is something that actually our employees, it's a stress up to those days, because our employees are thinking about that. Well, now we got to tell people not to use the bathroom or tell people not to sit. We don't want anyone not to sit, but we do have to take care of our employees and our revenue. So please take into consideration that as we work together, not every business is thriving. We'd love to continue this discussion. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for your comments. Is there anyone else in chambers who would like to give comment on this particular?
It's done that input, I mean, it directly impacted business. but-
We still will have input. Is there anyone online who would like to give comment on this particular TUP? Please raise your virtual hand. Okay, seeing none, let's turn this back to council, as some of our public have raised. I think let's first go to Mr. Cummins, who probably has a couple answers.
I would just like to say, clarification on the closure on Poplar Street. The only event that has requested that closure is the marathon and half marathon. So that is on page 114 of your packet, shown on the screen here. So in the past, it has only, East 6th Street has been the only one that has closed for those events. And now the applicant is requesting a safety closure to those alleys on either side. So according to their map of what they've requested, it is not all the way to 7th Street and 5th Street, but just to those alleys. And it is for the marathon and the half marathon, not for the expos, for the 100s.
Do the marathon and the marathon occur on the same day?
Marathon.
The marathon and half marathon do
So they have,
occur on the
you
same
have
day.
is what you're-
And they're both on Saturday.
It's the,
Yes, so, Saturday,
So Sixth Street is closed Thursday to Saturday, but Poplar is only closed on Saturday.
correct.
Yeah.
That is my understanding anyway.
And that's only to those service hours.
Correct.
Are the service hours still accessible?
How I personally would interpret this map, yes, they are still accessible. But that is something that if city council deems necessary, we can put a condition of approval on those permits for the marathon and half marathon, that those service alleys remain accessible.
I would advocate for that to be a condition.
It sounds, well, first of all, let me just turn this over to council before I start firing off.
Well, I'm curious because I remember Tamara saying something about vouchers that they have set up with Mo's. I don't recall if that's true or not, or if that's just in my head, but I have some, did they, like, can I ask them out? Is there any kind of
Both look a
voucher
little
system
confused.
whereby runners get, or bikers get, they pay some sort of a fee to like encourage them to eat at Mo's? Or,
not that I'm aware of,
okay,
is
that
it
was,
okay to talk?
Briefly, please, yeah.
So, you know, they do use us to, help feed their staff. And so they do buy considerable amount of lunches
Okay.
and we, you know, we have a good, rapport with all that and, but I'm not sure what.
Okay.
I think she was referring to the catering contracts.
Yeah.
But there
okay,
are several different ones during the race series with those.
And that is not comprehensive revenue replacement for us during the
Sure, understood.
Other comments from council?
I would like to request to hear the rest of Mr. Craig's comments, because as a business directly affected by the event that we're gonna be deciding tonight, I don't feel like he could submit comments to us later and he'd be heard in a timely way.
Sets an uncomfortable precedent.
Well, I don't think you have to follow it every time, but since in this hearing, there are no other members of the public wanting to make comment, I feel like it's not a time burden to hear the rest of
If you
the.
could pick up right where you
concerns.
left off.
Yeah, I mean,
Still-
yeah, technically you can, council could, it can be posed as a question, not as additional time for commenting. So Councilmember Tharp has a question, which is, what are the rest of your comments? And consider it a question.
Extremely strategic, Simonson, thank you.
Okay, I'll try and be very quick here. Okay, so, yeah, if Sixth Street gets closed off, that does affect our business. Thursday, when they close off Sixth Street, not the new one, but just up in our area, everything gets locked up. There's really nothing going on Thursday to Friday. And it is extremely helpful if just on that end, I'm just not saying don't close the street, but just, from us down to where, Charlie's Metal Shop is, if people just pull in there and park, they can run into Mo's and leave, but like, so our business gets affected from Thursday, Friday, you know, you know, we're obviously willing to work with the racers, but, other issues, you know, she mentioned people bring foods in the bathrooms and, our revenues, you know, just in general, I did talk to Tamara this past week. She asked me to like, you know, provide like general, revenues. So it's not so much, for some reason, the bike races, we do well. The running races, I think people come into town, they're a little more they have all their needs taken care of. But,
Eat bars.
in general, on a good Saturday, you know, we do a solid between $4,000 to $6,000 in revenue. On a general, running race, we're more like 2 to 4. And then when the bike races are here, we're on the high end, it's the $6,000 plus. So we're not like, you know, trying to make a big issue of that, because we understand that the race series is great. But I just, you know, but people are always saying that, you know, oh, you guys must go crazy these days. It doesn't really work like that. And you know, those are main issues.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I have an additional question regarding what, Tamara had, like what your discussion, you said she had just asked for revenues over.
She was wondering if, yeah, I could provide her with, better information
Yeah.
about that.
Was there anything else she said or indicated she would work with you on?
So we talked about signage, making better signage going up the road, like I asked about, you don't mind, I'm just gonna pull up some real quick. So creating better pathways to Mo's, specifically from Harrison, working on signage together. She said she'd love to know any historical details on our, change in revenues.
Which is within our purview, if I may, to whether we share our personal revenue information with an outside business. I don't think that that is common practice, and we reserve the right to keep our revenue.
Yeah.
Sorry for that.
I mean, I'm just giving like general numbers, because we're not our business is crazy. There's so many factors, the weather, things that have been changing from day to day.
Staff notes the applicant has joined virtually.
Apologies for being not there. Can you guys hear me? There's a weird reverb, I think. Sorry.
So is the street, so I already mentioned like the street closure from Thursday through Saturday, it goes all the way from Harrison to Poplar, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, typically, according to the map that was submitted, it does show that. Actually, no, I apologize. It does not go all the way to Harrison. It goes, from Poplar to.
The alley.
that alley,
The alley.
just to,
Behind the bank.
yes.
Is there, okay, so it's from the alley to Poplar to the alley, so that part of
Correct.
Sixth, the half of Sixth, the half of East Sixth closest to Harrison is still open?
That is correct according to the maps that were submitted.
I was just wondering if there is a way to like close that street partially, especially on like the Thursday and, or whenever the less busy times are, to still allow for parking.
I'm just,
again,
I'm accumulating a list of requested, adaptations. And we can put that one on. Other comments from council or? Go ahead.
Not related to the Sixth Street, related to the Pine Street issues. Can we have some assurance that we can do way more no parking on the west side of the Pine? So that we don't get double parking. That's what happens is people park on both sides and then we can't even get in or out, and it's unsafe to even walk.
I think our street department manager indicated when we brought this, or when we brought this up the last meeting, that would require the purchase of more signs, but.
So that's why I'm re-bringing it
Yeah,
up
thank
tonight, because it's important for 6th to 8th on Pine West.
Other comments?
Well, aren't there already no parking signs there?
There are, those are the ones that are really high. And so, and once one person parks illegally, they all park behind that one. And then it becomes, what's the word? Not navigable.
What kind of like parking signs?
The ones that sit in the street to keep them from parking. So they're up, that's an empty lot. It's 7th and Pine. And so people think that, oh, I'll just park there on the west side. Just past the hideaway. What is it called? Hideaway.
Oh, yeah, I know where you're talking about.
That's what I'm talking about, is that street, that part of the street.
Okay. Comments from council, questions? Ms. Jiley, you have your hand up? Please.
I guess I'm just a little confused. I was actually headed in and I did not have any awareness that you had revised the agenda until just recently. So I paused and just jumped on. So I'm feeling a little, a little off guard here, or just a little, needing to catch up as to where you are and what has happened. Cause I certainly had some things to share tonight as well. I'm not sure how to proceed. If this was only meant to be discussion from council and not have anything from the race series, or what the process is here.
Well, typically we started with staff, moved to council questions. If you would like to put in a brief update of what you have for the series so far, that would be fine at this point.
I've missed what the discussion was, except for the last few minutes. So can I get an update on what has been discussed?
Our discussion primarily, was over closures on Poplar, ensuring that, or preventing delivery from Moe's. I think, and what I was going to comment on, so I'll just jump in now, is that many of the concerns that the Craigs brought up they're like the business version of the concerns that we heard for years of people down West 6th, of people sitting down and using space. Oh, my timer is telling me to be quiet. It's not me. People, sitting in private property, using lawn chairs, like actually using their lawns for bathrooms, etc. It seems like this is kind of the same energy, just on the east side. And I guess and so that's primarily what we were talking about, is some of the difficulties that the businesses on the north side of East 6th experience when that road is closed. What I was going to propose, and maybe you can answer this off the top of your head, Tamara, is would it be possible to post an ambassador to redirect people away from using Moe's as just a seating place, a spectator place, a place to do their work, rather than be customers? And same for the bathrooms, as those are, for customers only, I would say, is what we would see in other businesses. This is a big burden on their staff to manage and interact with people. And I'm just wondering if you had any ideas. Mine was to post an ambassador there to redirect people who were not going to use Moe's as their dining spot.
Yeah, so Harvey and I did speak, and I think we came up with a plan. I'm not sure. I saw you up talking, Harvey, but I didn't get to hear what you said. And I do apologize. I just feel horrible not being in person right now. And generally I come and I sit for a long time. So I was just kind of getting it closer. So I apologize. And Harvey and I think did discuss a couple of things. So yes to the ambassadors, 100%. Like, we had ambassadors there, but I think what we've zeroed in on is, hey, there's another issue that we want to dial in. The other thing that we discussed is creating the same pathway that we put on the other side. So for those days, we would do a double-cade where it is. So there's only the marathon, it has to be closed. That whole way has to be closed because your start finish is there. That's part of why that happens. It's not closed for 100 run. The whole thing is not actually closed. But the discussion that we had for all three events, so this is primarily Expo, right, that we're talking about for 3 events, is to put a double-cade, just like we did with the 100 mountain bike and 100 run, on the 6th Street side. So you put the cade, and then we were talking about sharing kind of a directional, we create signs that would specifically say, kind of at the start of the entrance there, we would say signs like we had on the other side, but those said residents this way, spectators this way. We would have spectators and Moe's specifically called out, but businesses as well this way. So just creating that same thing that we did with the 100s, but doing it with these events as well. And then posting the ambassadors 100% will be in that area. They also were really focused on moving people. I think they really focused on keeping people out of private property to the east of Poplar. I think the question mark in my mind is how far do we want to go? Because we'll certainly doublecade that too and just protect that property as well. We want to make sure to get people to Mo's as much as possible. And I have a letter from Charlie Cooper that I just printed and was bringing it to you guys, but I can either share it, I can read it, I can forward it to the whole wards so everybody gets it, you know, but essentially we had a good conversation. And I would love to share that however you want me to share it. It doesn't call out anything specific, but I think Harvey and I were able to talk about how can we do this in a way that creates a more distinguished space, just like we did on the other side. Does that meet the kind of the ideas of what? So that's one piece of it. And then I would say the other thing that we talked about is Poplar itself. When we talked about closing that, not closing it to parking, like anybody could park. All we want to do is keep cars from going across that intersection while people are running, if that makes sense. So 2 separate issues. And those were 2 solutions that we came up with on our side to address that. How does that land for council and for everybody in the room?
Tamara, can you confirm on Poplar, for the closure on Poplar, does the closure stop before the alley? Because Mo's was concerned about being able to accept deliveries through the alley to their business.
No, we can get cars in there. I think we can put it wherever. What we don't want is the cars going across 6th Street. So in my mind, we could close it wherever you guys want to close it. That makes sense to everybody, and post ambassadors in that area too, so that we make sure that, like, I would see that people could even park on those streets up to a point. We just don't want them driving across that intersection. So we can most certainly keep the alleys open for deliveries as well.
Thank you.
Other comments? Questions? So here's what I've typed out as potentially to add as other modifications on the TUP. I want to know from you, the Craigs, if this would begin to address some of those issues. And I want to hear from Tamara if this is all something that she can ensure will happen. One is to ensure the service alleys on Poplar at East 6 remain open. One is to install a doublecade on the first block of East 6 for that closure, using signs directing people to Mo's and other businesses on East 6, and add ambassadors to divert people from using Mo's bathroom or picnic tables for anything other than customer dining, and to ensure that the service alleys remain open. Is that comprehensive?
I think that's great.
Tamara?
Yeah, 100%. We are down to make it happen. Harvey, are you good with doing the doublecade starting where the entrance of the expo is? So like it's open up until that point, right? Like the whole walkway and everything. And like just sort of, I think you and I talked about maybe you would put some signs down on the Harrison side and we would do some signs up to that point and then right at that entrance to the expo and create that doublecade from that point up to Poplar, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, from what I visual, like as far as when they're walking up the road, when they have to make a decision to go one side or the other, they just know that, you know, this is the expo.
Yep.
If you want Mo's barbecue, it's over here.
Perfect.
Because the problem is they go over to the expo and they're like, oh, I went the wrong way. They got to walk all the way back and then all the way back.
Yeah.
Great.
I think
Thank you, Jan.
one of the things that Ms. Genlink started last year was a complaint line and also very close communication with the people on West 6. And it seems like that worked really well. You know, I think just extending that a block up would also ensure that we receive feedback and information about how that went.
Yeah, no problem. And then Harvey, we talked about, I did offer you, did you think about this having a tent spot inside of the expo as another option? Does that feel like something you want to try this year?
Yes, I did think about it. Thank you for that. I really need to kind of discuss that with my manager and my staff, and I just haven't really had that time.
Sure.
And, time, why don't we discuss this on our own time, maybe? Is that okay?
It's good with me for sure. I'm gonna make sure we're hitting all the marks.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Other comments, questions, feelings from council? If not, I would entertain a motion and I would please request that whoever makes it use my modifications, I can pass down.
Mayor, comment from
Okay.
Seth.
What about Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Could we, in the motion, could we, please be clear to specify those as conditions of approval?
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Okay.
I was trying to think of that word earlier and all I could come up with was modifications or amendments. Let me have that.
It's helpful for each line item if you just read that as number one, condition of approval number one, condition of approval number two, et cetera.
Okay, hang on, Cisco, let me make this readable. Thank you for your patience.
Of course.
Okay, so that
Thank you
adds
for your
up
attention to
to
detail.
trying to set you up for success. All right.
Dropping in. Councilmember Tharp moves to approve the 7 temporary use permits for the LTF Triathlon Series LLC to host events within the city of Leadville limits, including the Leadville Trail 100 Run, Leadville Trail 100 Bike, Trail 10K Run, Marathon, Heavy Half, Trail 100 Run Camp, and Trail 100 Mountain Bike Camp with the following conditions of approval. Condition number 1, ensure service alleys on Poplar remain open. Number 2, double K'd on East 6th for closures. And condition number 3, signs directing people to Moe's and other businesses on East 6th. Condition number 4, add ambassador on East 6th to divert people using Moe's bathroom or open picnic tables for anything other than customer dining and to ensure the alleys remain open.
Second. Sorry. I was like,
All right, roll call, please.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Grant?
I'm still concerned about Pine Street. We didn't add the condition of the no parking signs.
I guess my question about that is that something that the street department would do with the cost passed on? For street department time?
Can we add another condition?
Would we need to restart
So
the,
just a procedural note, we're in the middle of a roll call vote. So we either need to start over, and kind of rescind where we are, or we need to finish the roll call vote.
Pick up the other item later.
Yes, and address the item that has just been brought up in a new vote. So we're kind of in the middle of something that either needs to be finished or completely rescinded.
Thanks for keeping us on the rails, Ms. LeBun. Let's go back to the roll call. Cause I'm not really sure that belongs in this permit.
Well, I guess the real question is, given that information, does the person who made the motion want to withdraw their motion? And does the person who made a second want to withdraw the second? And in which case, then there's no motion for consideration. If that's not the case, then you can continue with the roll call.
motion withdrawn,
Do you want me to add a 5th condition?
please?
West side.
Pine Street between 6th and 8th on the west side. No parking.
if we're adding this, can we have more discussion on it?
Haven't voted yet. In its entirety.
So what'll end up happening is, someone can make a new motion with that. And so there's a motion, a second, discussion, roll call.
Okay. Did you have something?
I'm just, what do we do when people park there on the weekends anyway?
Well, they're supposed to get ticketed, except that they typically don't. So there's a precedent for people parking there, and that's what causes the issue.
But during the big events, they get so parked in there that there is no option for, you can't navigate it in your regular car.
And you can't have them towed because they're parked too
Because
close
you
together.
can't get in there to do it, to tow them.
I don't totally disagree with you, but I was coming back from an Alaska trip last year when ski joring was going on, and it was totally parked in, and I was able to navigate through there. I'm not sure how we're holding a group, the race series, to the standards when we, as the city, should be policing our own, I think. I mean, just because we don't write tickets, I don't think is a good measure of.
That is
putting other
a side
conditions.
issue to this temporary use permit that I think we should bring up at a later time when we have representatives from the police department in the audience. My question about it is, would this be better suited for the city to purchase extra no parking signs and the street department to install them and add those hours and that equipment onto what's charged to the race series?
I will comment on that, Mayor.
Please go ahead.
I would propose that the city purchase them because we would use them for multiple events. I think we should use them for ski joring, boom days, all the big events. But yes, I do think we could, if it takes that streets department staff time to set them up, we could bill for that. But I think the city should purchase them.
Councilmember Edwards.
I would go a step further and say that this is really a city and city streets department issue. And that we should separately as a council talk about different permanent signage for that area on a year-round basis. Rather than have anything to do with a temporary use permit, we need to fix a problem that's a permanent ongoing problem.
Also a good additional option. Is there further discussion that is desired to be had? So I'm gonna do a last call because before we go to motion, I would like all council members to express any misgivings rather than throwing in a concern at the 11th hour.
Yes. I'm ready to talk. Because Tamar has lots of no parking signs that sit on those orange cones or sit in there. I wasn't looking for any expense. I was looking for somebody to put them out and not depend on the ones that we already have that are up too high. While I agree that we need to bring those down and make that throughout the year more accessible, I wasn't asking for any more expense. It was only when Tony said we would have to purchase more, but I didn't come back around and say, I've seen them. I think I ordered them 10 years ago, 15 years ago, the no parking signs that sit inside the cones. And I rest my peace.
Am I allowed to?
Go ahead. Yeah, jump in, Ms. Genley. I guess we're still in discussion.
Councilmember Grant, I think that's where I was sitting too. Very happy for us to take on helping beef up the no parking in that area. We talked last time a little bit about barricade. We talked about additional signs. Super happy to do all those things. And even I think get with Tony and figure out, hey, I think there's been a few stolen during our events and maybe reimburse for the ones stolen during our events as a separate thing and maybe a middle ground that we could meet in. I get hesitant for us for a event group to be responsible for paying for signs, but whatever we can do to help with that area, 100% on board, want to do it. And if we can align on what feels good to everybody, really happy to do it.
What's council's wish on this?
I would suggest we take a belt and suspenders approach, include a condition of approval in tonight's TUP, specifically for additional signage which Tamara has suggested she'll support on Pine Street between 6th and 8th. And then have a separate conversation with the police department, not only on that segment, but just parking generally during our large events, whether it's signage or creating additional parking, shuttles or whatever it might be. I think it's a bigger question.
Is that acceptable? Okay. Last call for comments or concerns. Wait. All right, I'm going to, beg Mayor Pro Tem Clark to do it again.
Okay, Councilmember Tharp moves to approve the 7 temporary use permits for LPF Triathlon Series LLC to host events within the City of Leadville limits, including the Leadville Trail 100 Run, the Leadville Trail 100 Bike, the Trail 10K Run, Marathon, Heavy Half, Trail 100 Run Camp, and Trail 100 Mountain Bike Camp, with the following conditions of approval. Number 1, ensure service alleys on Poplar remain open. Number 2, double barricade on East 6 for closures. Number 3, signs directing people to Moe's and other businesses on East 6. Number 4, add ambassador to East 6 to divert people from using Moe's bathroom or picnic tables for anything other than customer use and to ensure alleys remain open. Number 5, add additional no parking signs along the west side of Pine Street between 6th Street and 8th Street.
So I will second that one as well.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Edwards,
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas,
Yes.
Councilmember Dolan,
Yes.
Councilmember Carey,
Yes.
Councilmember Grant,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Clark,
Yes.
Mayor Green.
Yes. And that, people, is how we keep massaging this thing. Thank
Mayor,
you
do
very
you mind
much.
sharing?
Thank you very much for your input.
Do you mind sharing those with staff tomorrow? Then we can just incorporate it into the permit, please.
Can I may email them to you,
Yes.
Mr. Cummins? Great.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Take a breath. Believe it or not, we are still on estimated time. Let's go to resolution number 6, series of 2026. This is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Leadville, selecting a construction manager / general manager for the Tabor Opera House roof replacement project.
We skip it. Mayor, I think we skipped.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I wrote all over the top of the first reading of the ordinance. Let me rescind that, and let's move to first reading. Actually, that would be first reading of ordinance 1, series of 2026, an ordinance authorizing a development agreement with Rabbit Ears Limited for the development of affordable housing at 642 West 8th Street. Mr. LaChance.
Mayor and council, this ordinance, if approved on first reading, would authorize a development agreement for the increase of density on the property at 640 West 8th Street. And that would be in exchange for the city receiving a deed restriction for 4 units to be deed restricted at 100% AMI. Details on this application are, they start on page 183 of your packet if you'd like to follow along. Applicants are the company Rabbit Ears Limited. You probably know Justin Ernst and Ethan Curry with Downstream Construction, and they're looking to build this project this summer. Without this development agreement, the property would be limited to 1 unit of density. The term density for our new council members is really just a measurement of the intensity of use of a property. So they're proposing a 4-unit multiple family dwelling. Technically, the 4 units, if you run the calculation of the lot size, there would be a density of 25 units per acre, but they're proposing 4 units with that 25 units per acre density calculation. Just a little bit of background on development agreements. Council approved or authorized development agreements 2 years ago, and since then we've had 1 successful application come through. You might recall the Bellcrest development agreement application. Very similar to this application, they're proposing 4 units, deed restricted at AMI. The only difference is with that previous application was 80% AMI, and this application is 100% AMI. I should mention that the Fellcrest project was leveraging some state funding, bringing in some state funding for their application. So this is a proposal for 4 units of deed restricted housing. They're also requesting fee waivers, which would total $2,250 out of our department's revenue. And then in exchange, the city would receive 4 units of deed restricted housing in perpetuity. That deed restriction would be administered by the Regional Housing Authority. We're working with the Regional Housing Authority, just like we did with Fellcrest. We've already presented to the Regional Housing Authority. They're fully willing to administer this deed restriction, just like they did for Fellcrest. And then assuming this ordinance gets approved at second reading, we would go back to the Regional Housing Authority for them to take formal action to approve the deed restriction. They are a party to this agreement. This application is submitted concurrently with the other entitlements that would be going through our office and then also through you. So when this comes to you for second reading in March, assuming you approve tonight, you'll be concurrently reviewing a conditional use permit application, and that's just to approve the use of 4-unit multifamily in that zone. Use and density are separate criteria for approval here. As you are aware, we have housing needs in our community, which are documented in our housing needs assessment done in 2024. We have a Prop 123 commitment that expects us to have 46 deed restricted units within Leadville and Lake County by the end of this year. This proposal certainly puts us much closer to that. Running the numbers, just so everyone's aware in terms of affordability, the applicants are intending to rent this property. So at 100% AMI, the rent on a studio would be $1,800 per the CHFA AMI limits for 2025. That'll slightly increase for 2026. So that's $1,800 for a studio and $1,900 for a 1-bedroom. Those would be the rental limits. Staff does recommend approval of this ordinance on first reading, and I can take any questions.
Other questions for Mr. LaChance? This is in fact very much like the Fellcrest agreement that we've done previously.
Mr. Ernst is here tonight as the applicant, and I haven't asked him to give a presentation. If you have any questions, I want to give him the opportunity if he has anything to add.
I'd love to invite you up and run us through what your application is all about and what your intent is. The owl can hear you better up there at the lectern.
I don't have anything to present.
Okay.
I'm just here to answer questions.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions for me?
From the drawings, we do have 4 off-street parking spots.
Yes.
So 1 per unit.
Correct.
Thank you.
Cool question. Other questions?
That's a nice easy one. Thank you.
I will add that the applicant is considering adding dedicating a public trail easement. They're working through just the liabilities associated with that, et cetera. But prior to second reading, this may come back to you in addition to the deed restrictions, having a 10-foot wide approximately trail easement across the northern part of the property that would connect West 8th Street to the Mineral Belt Trail. We just didn't add that in here because it's not fully baked yet. If we bring that back to you for second reading, we'll be sure to elaborate on that.
Thank you.
Yep.
And right now, we're just looking at rezoning for occupancy for this law.
Yeah, technically the term that we'd use is the development agreement allows an increase in the allowable density.
In allowable density.
Yes, everything else would be reviewed for code.
Yeah.
Yeah, under the existing zoning district.
Other questions, comments for either Mr. LaChance or Mr. Ernst? Oh, seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
Thomas moves to adopt ordinance number 1, series of 2026, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Leadville, approving a development agreement with Rabbit Ears Limited pursuant to Chapter 17.94 of the Leadville Municipal Code on first reading. I further move to schedule second reading of this ordinance for the regular City Council meeting of March 3rd, 2026. Carrie seconds.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Dolan?
Yes.
Councilmember Grant?
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas?
Yes.
Councilmember Carey?
Yes.
Councilmember Edwards,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Thorpe,
Yes.
Mayor Green.
Yes.
Thank you.
Looking
you all
forward to
very
it.
much.
That's tomorrow.
Thank you, Justin.
Okay. We are gonna now, I know my words are still ringing in your ears and it'll sound familiar, but we're gonna move on to resolution number 6, series of 2026, a resolution of the city council of the city of Leadville selecting a construction manager / general manager for the Tabor Opera House roof replacement project. This is a kind of a co-presentation between our city administrator and Ms. Edwards.
Okay, thanks, Mayor. I appreciate it. So you have previously been through the RFP selection process, so this staff report's going to look very similar to the one you previously received, but it outlines the process by which the Tabor Opera House and the city, Tabor Opera House Foundation and the city narrowed the applicants in response to the RFP down to the recommended selectee awardee. So I don't think I need to go over the process again. It was very similar. There was a selection committee and a ranking system very similar to the process that you had before. And Spectrum really was the unanimous choice in this case by the committee just because of their previous experience with the building and also their extensive experience with historic buildings. And, you know, with that, I know I see Ms. Edwards and Ms. Tate. If there's anything in the room, if there's anything I missed regarding the process, or if you have any questions, I'm happy to address them.
Do you have anything to add to that, Ms. Edwards?
Hi, I'm Sarah Edwards. I'm the executive director for the Tabor Opera House. Some of you are new faces to me. So I just wanted to say it's a pleasure to come in front of you as a partner on this city building. Typically, we try to come once a quarter or so to present on different topics. In a few months, you'll hear from us on our programming. In the fall, you'll hear from us on our accomplishments for the year and the budget. And about once a year, we come to you talking about our rehabilitation. The roof, as described in the staff report, is the most pressing thing we need to focus on. The report that we commissioned in 2024 suggested we should replace the roof in 1 to 3 years. So hiring this position of a construction manager, general contractor to help us do the next few months of pre-construction planning and then move forward with construction either in 26 or 27 is pretty essential to meeting that 1 to 3 year deadline that we have to get the roof done. So I think that the report and what Ms. Simonson said about the process is pretty clear, but I'm happy to answer any questions about the Tabor or this process or project in general if it needs to influence your decision tonight.
Are there any questions from council? Oh, I have one. So I gather that the recommended company Spectrum had previously worked on the Tabor Opera House. And I forgive my lack of memory here, but did have any of the other applicants had experience on the Tabor Opera House specifically? At least in the finalists that you know.
No, not that I'm aware of. The first and second phase of the Tabor Opera House project, where we restored the brick masonry and some of the windows, was done by A&M, and they did not apply this time. They're totally booked with the project and throughout 2026. Spectrum was the lead contractor for phase 3, which was the work we did over the last 2 summers. That was completed recently. So they are our most recent contractor for these big phases. I wouldn't know necessarily at the top of my head if any of these other groups have done smaller projects or projects, say, prior to the city purchasing the building, but not that I'm aware of.
Aware of work that was done prior to the city purchasing.
Prior
to you guys taking over this rehabilitation. Thank you. Other questions?
I just have a procedural question, probably for Ellie. I've recently joined the board of the Tabor Opera House, so do I need to recuse myself from discussion and vote on this?
Thanks for your question. Oh, sorry, I'm echoing. 1 second. Super weird. Am I echoing for you?
No, I can hear you.
Okay. Yes. You've already heard all the discussion, I would say, at this point. So you're on the board, so it's not a personal financial interest.
Correct.
Okay. Do you think you can make a fair and, sorry, I'm echoing so much, a fair and impartial decision?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Then I think we can proceed. You've put this on the record, and it's not a personal financial interest or a professional interest. You're a board member, just to clarify.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
I have an additional question. Does the board have any voting procedure on this particular item?
I don't know. I haven't been to a board meeting yet.
So Mayor, I think I can answer your question. So the distinction in this case is the building is owned by the city. Oh, there's a little.
Oh, you are.
Okay, thank you. So the building is owned by the city, so that's why we are going through the procurement process. The board is the foundation, which is focused on fundraising and more operations. So because this is the city owns the building, I'm not sure that the board votes on a selection of a contractor or the payment of money, because it's the city owns the building. And that's a good question. Ms. Edwards, I assume all this is addressed in our lease agreement with the Tabor Opera House Foundation, correct?
Correct, Lori, or Ms. Simonson, sorry. This is Amy Tate, and I am the board president, so I thought maybe I should answer this question. And what you have summed up is accurate, and that is why. The board has subcommittees, and this is our building rehab committee that has oversees this aspect of running the Tabor. And so while they have input into this, it's not something that board-wide has to be voted on. That's what our subcommittees do. They bring it to the board and we sort of oversee it. But this is all under the city's purview at this time.
Thank you. I know that doesn't interfere with the lack of a financial investment, but just thank you for clarifying.
And I'd love to just say that it's been common in the past for a city council member to sit on the Tabor board, and then the city council actually also has the opportunity to nominate two members to the board of our board of 11 typically. And right now those two seats are held by Amy and Shalesta Cairns, who's a high school educator. So there is often connectivity between our board and the city council, intentionally, because we're stewarding a city-owned building. So yeah.
So I guess Councilmember Thomas, what I would request is that prior to someone making a motion and us voting, that you just kind of make a declarative statement that you have no financial, you will not receive any financial remuneration through the Tabor Opera House, and that you feel like you can yield a unbiased decision. That's all I would ask. Are there other questions? Good question. Okay. I would like to move forward with motion and voting, but I think Councilmember Thomas has it.
Yes. Okay. So, so as a newly minted member of the Tabor Opera House Board, I believe that I can make an unbiased decision on the vote before us, and I do not stand to gain financially or professionally from this decision.
Said that much better than I did. Thank you. All right. Seeing that, completed, I would entertain a motion.
That being said, Della moves to approve resolution number 6, series of 2026, a resolution of the city council of the city of Leadville selecting construction manager, general contractor for the Tabor Opera House roof replacement project and selecting Spectrum general contractors.
There a second?
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Grant,
Yes.
Councilmember Edwards,
Yes.
Councilmember Dolan,
Yes.
Councilmember Carey,
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Clark,
Yes.
Mayor Green.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Let's move on to resolution number 7, series of 2026. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Leadville approving a grant application to the Department of Local Affairs for emergency replacement of the Tabor Opera House roof.
Sorry, do you want me to do this one?
Sure, we can tag team. You're standing there, so I would love to.
Sure. So we get now to the point of how do we pay for the roof? And actually I've got this approval from council a little over a year ago to apply for the Department of Local Affairs for a grant for the roof. But in starting to prepare the construction documents for the roof, we began to understand that our estimates were grossly underrepresented. And so we withdrew our application, and then DOLA proceeded to not have a fall or December round, which are traditional for them, last year. So we've been kind of waiting for the next opportunity for DOLA to have an open grant application. And they just opened one about 3 weeks ago with a deadline of February 13th. And our application requires a resolution from the local municipality to apply. So that is what this resolution is about. The estimated roof replacement project has become complicated by the fact that a lot of the issues with the roof are that our scuppers are undersized. So in the spring, when we get a lot of melt and thaw cycles, they get really swollen and full of water that then cascade over the side of the building, and they're starting to erode our historic brick, and the brick is very soft because of its historic nature, and therefore the mortar around the brick is very soft because that is the calculation that is needed to hold soft brick together and not crack it. So that water is starting to erode recently rehabilitated brick. So that whole system is being redesigned as an internal gutter system. So internal plumbing will now go through the attic spaces and down inside the walls of the Tabor, and then out to a place in the alley for now that is much lower to prevent all of that type of wear and tear on the roof itself and the brick. And then that system, because of the pre-rehabilitation of our 3rd floor and attic system, needs to be heat trace taped so it doesn't freeze. And that requires an electrical upgrade, which we were going to have to do anyway, but we thought we would do it when we installed the elevator. And now we've moved that electrical upgrade to the roof replacement phase so that it can support the new demand on the electrical system for the heat trace tape. So the overall project is about $2 million, including all of those components. We've raised so far, or have in our bank accounts from historic tax credits, $750,000. The DOLA opportunity is a 1-to-1 match. We're going to continue fundraising over the next few months, but if in the case that we don't reach the $250,000 extra dollars that we need to raise to be that match for the DOLA grant, we're going to apply for a loan that we will pay back with the historic tax credits earned from the roof phase. So typically in each phase, we've already applied for the historic tax credits for the roof phase. It'll likely be about $500,000 that we will get back within a year after completing the roof phase. So it's more than enough to pay back a grant or a loan of approximately $250,000. The general contractor that you just approved, part of their work, the first 2 months of their work, the pre-construction phase, will be to do a whole bidding of subcontractors process. So we may find out that the estimates we have are lower or higher. But our plan right now is to go forward with the DOLA grant due February 13th to apply for the maximum they allow, which is $999,000 that we will match with Tabor Opera House existing funds and this loan that we will pay back with historic tax credits. Hopefully that's not too much information for you all at once, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
It's marvelously complicated.
Isn't it?
As these old buildings out.
Are there questions regarding this grant application or the extremely detailed way that the Preservation Board is going about looking at? Okay. I can't make motion maker.
Should I make my disclosure again before someone makes a motion? I'll disclose.
Well, what do you mean?
So I don't need to do it again.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. Can I do the motion?
Of course you may.
Okay. Carrie moves to approve resolution number 7, series of 2026, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Leadville approving a grant application to the Department of Local Affairs for emergency replacement of the Tabor Opera House roof. Thomas seconds.
One.
Tom's can have it.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas,
Yes.
Councilmember Edwards,
Yeah.
Councilmember Grant,
Yes.
Councilmember Carey,
Yes.
Councilmember Dolan,
Yes.
Mayor Green.
Yes. Great.
Thank you.
I imagine, will you need to attach the signed resolution to your grant application or?
Weirdly, I don't think so, but I would love to have it just in case, because we're gonna try to get that submitted on Friday if possible.
And
Thank
I
you.
just want to say everyone should cross their fingers because as you know, the Department of Local Affairs, this is the Energy Mineral Impact Fund. This is the one that is also, we've heard about severance tax. You know, the state has cut back a lot on the funding for this. So we are super extra going to cross our fingers because I think the amount of money available in this pool is smaller than it has been. The Tabor Opera House is one of the favorites. DOLA has been incredibly supportive of this project. And so Ms. Sneed, who was going to be one of your presenters tonight, is very sorry that she couldn't join you tonight. She was unable to travel and we'll reschedule that meeting, but she can talk to you more about how DOLA has supported this and just the fantastic work that Tabor Opera House Foundation has done. There's no way we could do this without you. So thank you very much for all the hard work you do to rehabilitate such a treasure and the years and years of grant applications and work you've put into it. So we'll have our fingers crossed for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, the
Thanks
pool,
for your support.
thank you. Yeah, the pool, I think this round is about 15 million. So we are asking for a pretty aggressive amount, but they also know that we've been waiting and that this is urgent. So
And is this their only round that they're holding this year?
they said that it is possible that this is their only round they're holding this year, where traditionally they would hold 4. So it's bleak time for them, but yeah, I'm grateful that this opened up when it did.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's move on.
Can I also just say I'd love anyone who hasn't gotten a true tour of the Tabor Opera House, please let me know if you'd like one. I'm happy to do it as a group or just schedule you a private tour with one of our docents anytime. So,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you. You can bring a friend.
All right, let's move on to public comments at the end of our meeting. Steve, please come up. That's gonna.
Thanks, you guys.
Steve Preston, the block that pushed me a lot. Well, we've had a large, I'm still not comfortable that we don't monitor who is actually buying things. And this corporation blind thing, are we fueling, being a laundromat for dirty money? And are we promulgating child abuse and kidnapping of women for prostitution? And misleading them with visa information so somebody can make a lot of money. At one of the meetings that I made comments about this, I don't know who was online, but they made the comment shortly afterwards that the money has to come from somewhere. To me, that seemed like an incredibly cold comment, and I really resent that comment. But on top of so we don't know who was the beneficiary of the $825,000 that the city spent. Was it a city official? It seemed likely because of his connection to that property, and his actions to put that on the historic, on the urban renewal plan. We're also have expending money or plans for the Opera House. We're considering now $23 million bond issue. And but we come back from my perspective on the street utilizing this thing. We can't seem to run the Zeitz Park bathroom. So we're doing all these grand things and spending all this money, but the Zeitz Park bathroom right now for about approximately 4 months has only one unit there. And then there's another problem of homeless people that are habitating those bathrooms for hours at a time. Some time ago, we had a guy named Barry Gosselin. He was hanging out there. Then there was another guy that was hanging out there for a while. Now we have 3 different homeless people that are hanging out there quite a bit. I think we need to have the camera thing revisited and figure out some way of monitoring. If somebody's in there, you know, there should be some monitoring of that because it's just, there we go. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Is there anyone from the public online who would like to give public comment at the end of our meeting now? Okay, seeing none. Let's move on to my report, which again is going to be brief. I know last time I was going to bring some of the information covered from the Policy Advisory Committee at CML, but we haven't gotten there yet. Our next meeting is later this month. And so that is when we really expect all the details of what has been submitted on the state level from the legislature to sort of flesh out. Before it was just mostly kind of ideas and things were being remodeled quickly. So eventually I'll come and tell you what's up with that. I don't know, did you guys receive the CML invitation to the legislative conference? It's a one-day thing in Denver. It's,
When is that?
Did you guys
today or?
no, they've been tossing it out recently.
Okay.
I'm wondering if we have not, let me make sure we have updated.
I'm
You
getting
new
CML
people.
stuff,
Oh, okay.
but I'm not sure if it's, I don't recall the invitation.
Lori, what day is that held on? I know I'll be at my other job, so I didn't pay attention.
The legislative conference this year is on February 19th in Denver at their, the CML offices.
So I would, I can't attend this year. Lori and I went last year. It is really excellent. It is one day and they touch on a lot of, so CML remembers our lobbying arm at the state level. And so they touch on a lot of these legislative items that CML is taking a position on behalf of municipalities around the state. It's super interesting. It's great. I'm gonna send out my invitation to all of you, just so that you have something at the top of your email. I'd highly advise you to consider going. And I would, I know we don't have a council education budget, but if the cost, which I think is nominal, it's just one day, is, outside of what you can manage, please come and talk to me, because I have an education budget. That's all I have. Council reports.
I have a very quick one. Was able to attend an EDC meeting this last week, approximately, and they were able to announce a private donor has funded the EDC pretty generously, a matter of $500,000 over the next 3 years, which is wonderful. So Tamara and the powers that be have gotten very busy in trying to find a director, somebody, well, I say a director, not a director, somebody who can work as a liaison between the EDC and private businesses and people coming to town wanting to do that. So it's nice to see some progress there. It's no one has had good funding for a while, so that's a kind of a bright spot for us to see one of our economic development groups really gaining a little bit of traction and trying to put a plan together for the next 3 years. It's incredible. It's wonderful news.
Is the funding targeted at any certain endeavor or?
No, it's not. Well, there's not a tremendous amount of information. It's a private donor. It is an anonymous private donor. The funding is guaranteed for 3 years, so it's not tied to progress over time. So we wouldn't lose that this year if they didn't hit any certain goals. But the intention, I believe, from the meeting is to use that money to hire kind of a business docent, somebody who can be a liaison between the city and the county and planning and zoning and all of these different things that are involved with either companies who are here in town and trying to expand or trying to survive, or new businesses trying to come in town and figure out how to do business in Redmond. So it was a bright spot. It was nice.
Concierge position.
Thank you. The concierge, exactly, yes. So, yeah, wonderful news.
Wow. Okay, top that.
Well, I'm not gonna top it, but I want to divulge, Councilmember Thomas sits on that board, Councilmember Edwards was present. I walked into the meeting also just as a private citizen, so there ended up being 3 of us present at this meeting. After I realized that I was the number 3 person, I chose not to ever speak up so that we were not in any.
Yeah, I was thinking of going.
Yeah, and I think, thank you for flagging that and being conscious about that. I think 2 things. One, it sounds like it was a chance encounter, social of sorts encounter. And also, it doesn't sound like it was covering any business that would be before you for a vote. So thank you for being aware of that. We always appreciate council members being aware of that. But I think, it wasn't anything that would create any procedural concern.
And then my other report is praying for snow. The Easter egg hunt at Ski Cooper is scheduled for Saturday, April 4th, 9 a.m. over by 904.
April 4th?
Correct. Closing day. Ski Cooper.
Feels like it's tomorrow. Other council members?
I have a report on having gone to my first regional housing authority meeting on the 21st. And I am still I think I spent the whole meeting like taking notes on all the things I didn't understand. And went home and watched some YouTube videos and stuff. But anyhow, I can report that the Regional Housing Authority at that meeting discussed, well, they're currently continuing the pathway forward pursuing Prop 123/land banking funds. And Chapin can correct me if I'm wrong on any of this stuff. We heard proposals from two potential projects that would both apply for those funds. One is the Gateway project and the other is the Phase 3 Rail Yard project. We also discussed that Advocates of Lake County is also applying for land banking grants for a project in the Phase 1 of the rail yard. And we also got updates on the Rabbit Ears project, but that, 3 projects in Leadville for the grants raised some concern.
Yeah.
Getting
Okay. Thank you. Really appreciate you stepping up to it, to represent the city on that. Other council members?
Thanks to the city for replacing the snowflakes. They're nice. I'd like to see real ones, but
Yeah.
light-up ones are good too.
I have passed along your gratitude to the streets department. And if you saw the newsletter, we did share the gratitude from Ms. Stanek about getting the snowflakes back up. And I told Tony in the streets department, if it does snow anytime soon, they'll get credit for it.
Well, that year when we left the snowflakes up into May because our streetlights were had so much malfunction, it kept snowing, and I think we finally decided we have to take the snowflakes down. That's why it kept snowing. So I think there's some possibilities here. Okay. Anything else? Yeah.
Yeah. The indoor recreation, cohort called the rec group, met on, Monday. And, very related to the city because AMD, the firm that we selected to do the planning and design for it, presented, and they put together a good slide deck of information and timeline and stuff. And so I can pass that on to council. Did any of you receive that? Okay, I'll pass that on to everybody else. Yeah, it's cool to look at. And in addition to that, it was discussed that for the next 4 months of those regular rec meetings, we'll use those meetings to engage with AMD and continue that discussion. Lauren Barrett is also working on recruiting some more folks from our community to participate in those.
In the rec meetings, or-
Yeah, but especially focused on the AMD and community center stuff.
When are those meetings? Or are they regularly scheduled?
I don't know if that's been scheduled out. Do you, Lori?
I'm confused, the continuing rec meetings or which other meetings?
Yeah, the continuing rec meetings.
Yeah, those are on a regular basis. I think there's a repeating calendar invite for those.
I got dropped off the calendar invite, so I don't have the current one. Do you?
Oh, do you want to know when the next one is? I can look real quick.
Yeah, I believe that was your question, right?
Yeah, you
Councilman
asked them,
Rhodes?
they already has to be able to attend sometimes. Given the opportunity.
Yeah, so they are generally Mondays from 1 to 2:30 p.m. Hold on a second.
March 2nd is the next one.
Yeah, thank you for pulling that up. I was moving my screen around a little bit.
Monday midday.
It's like maybe the first Monday of the month. I don't know if that's, well, I don't know. I don't see one in April yet. So March 2nd.
Okay.
Is the next.
But they're always midday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nope. Oh, day jobs.
And let's see. Just seeing if there are any other. Prior to the March 2nd meeting, there will be a subgroup meeting with Ballard King, which is the arm looking at the kind of market viability and cost recovery sustainability that was part of AMD's application. And there will be a subgroup meeting with Ballard King to discuss that in more focus. That hasn't been scheduled yet.
Anything else?
If it's possible to put out those meeting dates to council, once those are announced, that'd be nice.
Okay. No, council report, but council member report, I guess. When we were talking about the, excuse me, the ordinance number 1, we talked about second reading being March 3rd. I will not be able to attend that meeting. I looked at the calendar after we voted on this. Oh, wait a minute. I won't be here. So
You will be running across Alaska or what?
partially, yes.
Thank you, because that'll be an important thing. We need quorum for that. Thank you. Can you tell us when is this Alaska thing taking place or over what span of time?
Yes, so can we please not have the 17th meeting finishing at like 11 o'clock? Because I leave the 18th and I have a 7 a.m. flight.
The 7 meeting used to go to midnight.
I was gonna say, the last time we had a long meeting, I left for Denver right after that because I had a 7 a.m. Okay, so you're leaving the 18th?
18th.
Okay.
of February.
And returning, when can we see your shining face again?
I don't know.
Okay,
Um,
TBD.
yeah, it all depends on how quick I am.
Hey, wings
No
attach
pressure.
themselves to your feet.
Also, I will be out on February 17th. I will not be able to attend the meeting.
Because you know it's gonna be a long meeting.
Well, I can give you a heads up of a few things if you care about. We are right now, things change, but right now you will be hopefully considering the temporary use permit for the 2026 Firecracker 5K. The temporary use permits for the 2026 St. Patrick's Day Parade. Department reports, other potential discussions that might include your next revision of the bylaws. That's with our city attorney's office right now. And also the consideration of the temporary use permit for ski joring. So the applicant requested some additional time and so requested to be on the February 17th agenda. And then also really super important, we definitely need a quorum for this. The first reading of your second ordinance of the year, which is adopting the state wildfire resiliency code. That's first reading of that. And so that is state mandated. We'll need to stay on a pretty strict timeline for that. But so it's shaping up to be a kind of busy meeting, but we, Councilmember Dolick, I heard you. And if there are things we can move or consider at a later meeting, what do you consider late, I guess is the question.
I'm not gonna be getting any sleep anyway, so.
11 is unusual. 9
Well,
is,
Councilmember Haley used to tell me that he was he had a pedicure appointment, so we can make sure you're out of the meeting in time to make any appointments you have. So we'll try and make it a little on the skinnier side.
Councilmember Carey had a quick question and I told her, I want to make sure I'm right. Quorum for us is 5.
4.
4.
A super majority for rare things is 5.
Okay,
4 is
quorum is 4 and that includes the mayor. So 4 anyways. Okay, thank you.
4 warm bodies occupying these seats. Yeah. Other comments or questions? Just one last thing I just noticed on our newsletter, which you all have a copy of. I just want to point out the animal shelter open house, which is Sunday, February 15th from 11 to 2. I want to bring this up because our next meeting is after this occurs. And they have some really, it's a great chance to just go and visit our animal shelter department out there. They have 2 really cute cats right now. I can personally attest. So please consider that for a fun outing. Okay. I've got nothing else. Let's go to public meetings planner. I believe it. I remembered this week. There is no Laura board meeting on Thursday. We need to remove that from the calendar. I have gotten schedule information from most of you, Councilmember Thomas. Maybe you can give me yours later. It's been marvelously hard. I know from time to time we have done them right before council meetings, but Linda Michow has a conflict with another city, so she cannot make those meetings. So we have to find some other, what I would like to have is a repeating, like, quarterly meeting to follow. And I've been talking with the DCI about the training that Laura approved last year on TIF, which I think is something we can all stand to learn some on. This is also proving to be marvelously difficult because they want to talk for approximately 3 hours.
Oh,
I know. Well, actually, I went to an all-day conference with them once and it was great. But trying to find a time that enough can attend that makes it worth their while. I think what I'm gonna do is kick that to May to give us all time to plan for. Because I'm not hearing back from very many of the Laura people. So that's just a little update on this Laura schedule. I'll try to get that off the calendar for now.
One more quick question on Laura. I
Yeah.
got a request for approval on a payment this week,
Oh, did
but I
you?
noticed I was the only one that got the request.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's normal or not, but it was
I think, well,
Gary and one other person that I didn't know and me.
isn't it guys, name started to end?
I don't remember, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Carrie did reach out to me
Yeah.
and say, hey, this is sitting there, but I thought we were both supposed to.
I thought so too,
But I
but
was the
I
only
know
one
that
that
we're
got
both signatories on that account.
So I didn't know
we
that
can do
required to, I guess was my question.
That's a good, I don't think so. Previously,
Hell
yeah, but thank you for bringing, I would love to be just sort of kept up to date on that. But yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Mayor, before you schedule Laura training or TIP training for May, I think we're also looking at mandatory city training in May.
Oh, right. So I'll have
It's
to
like a
coordinate
5 or
with,
6 hour thing.
because we can't do it online anymore.
We can't do it online anymore.
I know, I really want to do it online.
It's great online.
It's great on.
That's the first thing I've heard of, like, coming offline.
Yeah, there was an explanation for that, which I cannot remember. Okay, thank you for bringing that up. Anyway, I'm just gonna try to make something that works for the most number of people. Right now, I don't even have what would be a quorum for Laura, so.
Did you not get a response from me?
Yeah, you did. Oh, yeah, you were. Okay, well, nothing else? Motion to adjourn?
Brand moves to adjourn.
Seconded.
All right, all in favor? Aye,
Aye.
at 8:07 PM.
I'm not sure.
Here's you.
Ooh,